Hello again, everybody, with the great John Dodds. I'm Tom Pippins. Our producer is Jason Ruck, and welcome to another edition of the MarquetteHoops.com basketball show. We are brought to you by our proud sponsor, Moonlight Graham, Modern Dental Benefits. Moonlight Graham, a proud sponsor of the MarquetteHoops.com basketball show. Wow, was it incredible to have Bo Ellis on the show last week. There's so much there. We can go into months and months, everything from how he was recruited to Shaka Smart to the 74 team. But there's something special, John Dodds, that you'd like to get into today.
Sure. We'd like to start off with SkyGen and Scion Dental have sponsored a Pro-Am League in Milwaukee run by Jim Ganzer. And over the years, I know Buzz Williams has started in the Buzz Williams era, and a lot of Marquette players participated. And then kind of with COVID and the Marquette interest faded a little bit, it looks like the Marquette is back, very interested. It's a great opportunity for Marquette players to be seen in the summer by fans, and a good outreach into the community where some of the people in the community who may not be able to afford tickets to go to a forum can come and see Marquette players and UWM players and some of the high school players that have gone into the pros and into college and then into the pros in Europe. They'll come back and play.
Well, let's get right to Bo talking about that league. It really is something else. Again, Bo Ellis brought to you by Moonlight Graham, Modern Dental Benefits. Moonlight Graham, our proud sponsor. Bo.
2010, Jimmy Ganzer and Craig Caston sponsored it. They started the Pro-Am Summer League in Milwaukee, and then you became involved with it, an important part. And the NCAA allows that in the summer under certain limitations. You can't have more than 2 Marquette players play on any one team. So if you have 10 Marquette players, they have to be on 5 teams. So you have UWM players, Marquette players, you have ex-players in the city, like a Steve Gruber would come to it. Joey Sherburne, who played at Maryland. Boo Wade, TJ Bray. There's all sorts of really interesting players. And Steve Gruber, I think, did he play for Brown? I think it was.
Yes, he did play. He played at the Ivy League school.
Yeah,
yes,
he played at Brown. So they would come back. So you have interesting mix of players. But what's important is you can't charge any admission. So that means that people in the community can come on over and watch depending on where it is. And it's a great opportunity for Marquette fans and the community to watch good basketball. And at the start of it, when Buzz became very involved, and his assistant coach, now the new coach at UWM, Bart Lundy, was involved, I think there was 3,000 people at one game, one night on a Friday night at Greenfield High School.
Right, they had the 2 gyms there, right.
They had the 2 gyms, and it was just a fantastic opportunity to see the young players, freshmen coming in from Marquette, and then the freshmen from the year before, how they had developed. So talk about
that's another thing. One thing they had Craig again, that big heart that I was talking about. He wanted to be able to put something together so kids in the community that would normally not have access to be able to go to a Marquette basketball game, to see Marquette players. Well, he wanted to be able to bring Marquette basketball, UWM, and other college basketball pro players to the community so the kids have a chance to see them where, you know, in other situations they wouldn't be able to buy regular season tickets. And he also felt that it would be good, you know, for the Marquette players to be able to have a chance to get away, play against some other players. So to your point where you were saying, so any college teammates that play in this tournament, no matter what school you go to, I think it's a little different for Division III. That's Jim's area, because he runs all that, so he checks the rules. But, you know, you can't have 2 players from the same Division I program play on the same team. So like you say, so that balances the league out, and it also gives, you know, a lot of young people and a lot of people that normally, like I said, wouldn't have an opportunity to have a chance to see these players. They can come out in the summer league and see. I know how that is because I played in the Pro-Am Summer League in Chicago, every year I went back home to play, and it's a big thing. So kind of brought me in. I knew Jabari Parker, so Jabari came and played a couple of times down at the Kern Center because we had it down there.
MSOE,
Yeah, we moved from Greenfield because they were doing it in 2 gyms. I like, Jim, I think that one thing we should try to do is get one nice facility, you know, a couple nights a week so people can sit down and enjoy the game. So that's how we end up leaving Greenfield, going to the Kern Center, and then, you know, we had the problem with COVID, but
outdoor.
Yeah, so Jim called and we say, boy, you think we can do something like we do it, like they did at the Rucker? So I like, you think it's some courts? So we went out to Malone Park and a couple places in New Berlin, and I saw the court, and he picked my brain. And I like, this will work. So that year that COVID first hit, we were able to do it out Malone Park. We did it outside. You know, it kicked off good. We were able to, you know, keep it going and also give the community and all them individuals, and everybody was comfortable with it, had the mask, kept everybody safe, but the good thing, we were outside. So, you know, it's a great thing. So right now, this summer, we're right in the middle of putting everything together. So we have the website.
And again, your friend, your teammate, Craig Caston, making it possible. SkyGen is behind it.
Absolutely, and then working on getting more pros involved. But, you know, rules are a little different. When I played in Chicago, everybody came back home. But now with the money that they're playing the players, and, you know, a lot of teams won't allow them to play. But still having a chance to see college players, and some of the college players that's graduated. Kiefer Sykes played from Green Bay. So they come from all over, you know, to play. And, you know, it's just a good thing for everybody. It's good for, you know, the college players to play against it and get out of that routine of playing every day, you know, on campus, and play against some different players other than their teammates. And but it's an unbelievable thing, and we're starting to grow. So we want to get it back to, like you saying, we can get it up to 500,000 people, but that would be a wonderful thing. And, you know, the kids love it. But just what we've been doing, and, you know, what Jim has put together, it's been growing, and a lot of former players, a lot of players that's playing over in Europe that I didn't know about. And since I've been doing this and seeing a lot of these kids that come back home, Jerry Smith from Louisville was playing early. It's a lot of talent that's come from Milwaukee.
That's right.
And when I'm watching some of these kids that's been overseas that I didn't know about, that were a little younger when I was coaching back in the 90s, but now I like, man, I like Milwaukee has a lot of talent, and I think you're getting a lot of that now. You know, when you see the Kevon Looney's and the kid out in Golden State that went to Michigan, and you know, it's just a beautiful thing. So all those people have to do is, now we're putting everything together, so you just go to the website, and as we get the dates and figure out what facility we're going to use, because there's still, you know, some things going on with COVID, so we got to see if we're going back to the Kern Center, or I don't know if we'll go back to Cardinal Stritch, but Jim handles all of that stuff. But you can go to those different sites and you can get it, and it's free. You can come in, and trust me, you'll love the basketball. And then you get a chance to see the new freshmen that's coming into UWM and Marquette. So that's something Craig wants to be able to help people to be able to do that. So that's very important.
How exciting is it, how important is it that Shaka Smart has embraced this league?
Oh, it's very important, because, you know, all coaches are a little different when it comes to that, but he's very receptive. And then, too, you know, with myself being a part of it and giving it the stamp of approval, I think that makes him feel a lot better. And he knows that I'm not going to put him in any situations where his players are going to be in danger or have to worry about somebody hurting them. You know, the players that we have playing the league is good. The people that comes, they handle themselves good. We never had any problem, no riffraff, you know, and the players that's playing in it, they make sure, because they want a nice place to play, and they love the Pro-Am, and they love having the opportunity to play. And I remember that one year, Jabari came and played. And some of the kids they was playing, they was talking stuff to Jabari. And I heard Jabari start talking stuff, and I heard him curse a little bit. And I never heard, because they got him fired up, and I like, that's what it's all about. And then afterwards, they slapping hands, they hugging Jabari. So, you know, it's just a good thing, not only for the community, but, you know, for the players, the younger players, the college players. So we're just trying to grow into something a little bigger. And we actually kind of talked about possibly, because I know Sonny Parker, and Sonny is involved with the Chicago Pro-Am. So at one point, Craig and I had kind of discussed that possibly put together an all-star game and have the Milwaukee Pro-Am play the Chicago Pro-Am. So take the Milwaukee Pro-Am, go down to Chicago and play one game at their facility, and then also get the Chicago team and bring them up to Milwaukee and do the game. And then we kind of threw out there maybe, you know, choose a charity or each team have and put some money out there. Whoever wins, the money is donated to a charity. So that's some other things that we've talked about in the past. So,
that's great.
So hopefully, we know we could grow to something like that. But, you know, before you can walk, you got to crawl a little bit. So we're getting there. But Jim Ganser does a fantastic job. He knows all the players. They love him. They look forward to him. So
trust him.
It's not, so it's guys that come in from Europe. So it's a lot of talent, and the basketball is good. You enjoy it. The people will enjoy it. So that's the information, all of that, and we're looking forward to getting started coming up here in July. So just check that website and look at that. It's something I think the people would love to see.
It's always after July 4th is when the Marquette players come on campus.
The young kids.
So that's when you can see the freshmen play. And there's always a great dynamic. I always use that as an opportunity to interview players for the website. And the dynamic of these strangers, you know, you have 10 players on a team, and no two of them are teammates from their schools because of NCAA rules and D1, as you said. So you have 2 Marquette players, 2 UWM, 2 from Europe, all around, and the dynamic is really interesting because if there are, say, players that are used to being set up and scoring, and they're playing together, there's a different dynamic than I remember Greg Elliott, his freshman year, he came on board and he would give up layups to back pass to somebody, so a teammate would score, and by the end of that game, all of Greg Elliott's team, they're hugging each other, and there's this esprit de corps, and all the other ones want to say, boy, am I going to do this all summer? I'm never going to get the ball. I mean, there's so many dynamics that's human nature at its basic.
Yeah, but once they start playing, you know, it's just basic basketball, so they get into it, and then, you know, like anything else, they feel, they get a feel for each other as players and different things, and so, but it's a good thing. But, you know, it's just like being in the playground. You know, that's what it is, just a little more organized.
That's right.
You know, it's just like, you know, it's like playground basketball in the summer. You know, just a little more high profile. Than I remember when Craig, that particular year when Greg Elliott, Jamal Cain, Theo Johns, and the big kid that transferred in from Nebraska, from Chicago, from Simeon.
Ed
Morrow. So the 4 of them came in, they all played, and I remember before Greg hurt his self and had the foot injuries later, I remember when I first saw him when he came in as a freshman, I'm watching the athleticism with him. I'm like, this kid can play and stuff. And, you know, so we're looking to get back to that again. And like you said, we got a coach now that's embracing it, and we're looking forward to taking it to another level, especially with COVID ending. And well, it's kind of smoothing out a little bit, I should say it that way.
I know you and John will speak a little bit because you were effusive in your praise for Shaka Smart and where the program was and what a surprise season it was. But Bo, the idea of Shaka Smart embracing the past and the foundation and the tradition going back to your days with Al and the national championship, and then being smart enough to say, Bo Ellis has so much to offer and to allow you freedom, and he trusts you to, you know, go talk to a Justin Lewis or something of that nature. Got to be a lot of fun for you.
No, that's important. I actually, you know, he asked me about coming to practice, and you know, and as I got to know him as the year went on, he started telling me things, and I looked at him like, you've been doing your homework on me and stuff. I like that. I work with 4 different coaches, and you asking me to do some things that some of them that I actually work with was but I think a lot of it comes down to he's secure in what he's doing, you know, because a lot of my, you know, some of them other coaches in the past, when it came to that, I thought they act like they was embracing it, but they wasn't, you know, as far as I could see. I'm just talking about my own personal opinion. They talking about they want to embrace the past, but they trying to set their own legacy, which is fine, but you can do that. But, you know, the past is what got you here. And when you go back and you look at what Mike Krzyzewski does with his staff, you know, all Duke players, now what Hubert Davis is doing, you know, with his staff, with, you know, keeping it in the family and stuff.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, but, you know, Coach Smart being from Wisconsin, you know, I think about it. He was born a few months after we won the national championship.
Yeah.
And it's 44. My oldest daughter, Nikki, is 43, so he could actually be my son in a lot of ways. But he's embraced it. He's done his homework. He wants to get it involved, and I'm told him I'm there to help you do whatever you need me to do. And I had that same open door policy. And you know, with that being said, but out of all of them that's been here over the years, I think for me, Tom Crean was the one that was really sincere about that. And when Tom first came, I had left and I was back at Chicago State being the head coach, and he would call me and have me come talk to the kids in the summertime and do that. And then he would always have former players come and talk to his team and reach out to us. So he was a little different about that. But, you know, you have a lot of coaches and young coaches in this day and age that's a little, you know, unsettled about, you know, who they let in their little circle and stuff. But, you know, for me, it's not about me wanting to be the head coach or nothing like that. I don't want them headaches, but I have a lot of wisdom and a lot of things that I like to share because a lot of people did that with me. So that's what the important thing is for me and reaching out for. So whatever he needs me to do, I'm there for him. But I think the program is in great hands. You know, the talent, you know, the things he did. And see, they're a little spoiled around Marquette. I don't really do Facebook. My wife put me on there. But as the year went on, I read some of that stuff. I really read Al's Wits and Wisdom because it's taught me a lot about things that I didn't know about, you know, with the Marquette program. But I was reading Facebook. I'm looking at some of these comments and about what was said, especially after losing to North Carolina. But I don't get on there and comment. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what is this fool talking about? But people are spoiled, you know. They didn't put much. So coach, he starts winning and doing well early. They get spoiled at Marquette, so they think they don't know how hard it is to win at that level. And real quick, I'll tell a story because people know.
There's no have to real quick. You tell me the story.
It was only 32 teams that went to the NCAA tournament when we were in there. And the year that we played North Carolina State, my freshman year, North Carolina State and Maryland was in the top 5 in the nation, but North Carolina wins the ACC tournament, and Maryland has John Lucas, Lenny Elmore, the other Tom McMillan, but what happened was NC State won the big ACC tournament, so they only took the winner from the ACC tournament to go to the NCAA. So that year, Maryland didn't even go, and they were number 4 in the nation. So a lot of people see they don't know things like that and stuff because they were one of the better teams, but they got caught up in that whole trap with the David Thompson thing.
Yeah.
Your 1974 team, the 73-74 team, went to the NCAA finals, and that's a team, in my view, that was a great team that gets kind of a short shrift only because in 70 they won the NIT. Then Jim Jones, they had those great teams where they lost. John Kerry was here last week. They lost 4 games in 4 years from 69 to 73. And then you won it in 77. But that 74 team was a great team in its own right. Can you talk about that?
Well, that was my freshman year. And then also Lloyd Walton came. Lloyd had transferred from Mobley Junior College, so he had sat out the year before. Then Earl Tatum was a sophomore, so the 3 of us were pretty new to that team. And then Luke was back with Larry McNeil, and Marcus Washington was a senior. And then you had Eddie Daniels and Dales and Jerry Holman and Rick Campbell. So we had a nice crew, but on that particular team, we had 7 high school All-Americans on that team. And again, Earl and Lloyd hadn't played, so nobody really knew a whole lot about them. I mean, Coach had been praising Earl, since the day he had walked in the door as a freshman as the Black Jerry West, but because of the numbers game, Earl didn't really play a whole lot freshman year, so people knew a little about him, but they didn't really know how good Earl was, and that team was under the radar, but we was very good. We had a serious team, and realistically, I think about it all the time. I really had a shot to go to 4 Final Fours. You take my freshman year, we went. So just say Maurice Lucas stays in school my sophomore year. We're back again. Then he leaves. Junior year, we only lose 2 games. And then they happened to put us in the same bracket with Indiana, which would never happen in today's term with the way things go in today's basketball. So that would have been a 3rd. And then we went in my senior year. So that team my freshman year, we flew under the radar, but we was beating up on some good teams, and we beat some good teams, to get there. We beat Campy Russell in Michigan. We beat Jan Van Bredekoff and Vanderbilt, and I think at that time Vanderbilt was the top shooting team in the nation as far as field goal percentage. I kind of remember those things, and we played some serious schools, and I think we started off with Walter Luckett in Ohio U, and he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated
That's right.
before his senior year, and I watched Marcus Washington put on the best defensive display that I've ever witnessed in my whole life. He locked that boy up. I said, Marcus had his chest on him everywhere he went. I'll never forget that because the hype with Walter Luckett was big, so we destroyed them from the beginning. So, it was interesting. And then we beat up on a good Kansas team, which everybody said that
in the semifinals.
Yeah. So everybody was saying, that game ain't nothing. Like the championship is the next game is UCLA and NC State. So I'm glad to say that I had a front row seat to that game, one of the biggest games in college basketball history. So, that was interesting. But my freshman year, that team, we were good, but we did fly under the radar from a lot of the other teams that went to Marquette, because like you said, the Jim Jones era, and then, my years there. But that was a team that actually started it all for us and with me.
And after you beat Kansas, I remember thinking, geez, I was a 13-year-old, but I remember thinking, nobody gives Marquette a chance, but you guys were playing, you were peaking right at the right time.
We were playing well, and a lot of people, they talk about the technicals that Coach got that particular game, and actually one of them was on the play that I blocked the shot, and he was right. I ran him down from behind. They talk about all the young players and LeBron James and them doing all that stuff now. So I was doing that back in the 70s and stuff. But I chased Phil Smith, Spence down from the behind, and he went up and I blocked it, and Coach went crazy. But that's what Coach did, and you know, years later, Luke would tell Coach that you blew that game, that tech. But Coach, you know, like Coach said, you know, that's what I do. And, you know, it's been a lot of other games that Coach did those same type of things that we won. So, you know, it just happened to happen that way. But, you know, regardless of what the situation was, Coach is going to be Coach. You know, Al was Al, and that's what he did. If he didn't like something, or he was a master psychologist, you know, he'd go. So that one particular play, because we had him, we were right there. We had him that year, and like you said, maybe they did, but I wouldn't think that they would be stupid enough to overlook us. But I think once the game started, because we did a great job on David Thompson. Actually, we took David out of the game. Who really killed us was Monty Towel and Mo Rivers.
Guy,
yeah, they made shots. Because Coach we had a great game plan, but all of them, when we locked David and them up and we left them open because we were double teaming them, and then having the big fella in the middle, they made some incredible shots. So that's what did it. But I guess that was meant. What I didn't realize is that NC State the year before was on probation because of some recruiting violations with David. See, that's something I learned from that Al's wits and wisdom. I never knew that. And they had only lost 2 games in 2 years or something. Right. But they were undefeated almost the year before, but they wouldn't allow them to go because they had NCAA violations, something with David. So, you know, you live and you learn, but tremendous experience.
Bo Ellis, he is simply the best. John, I know you had some comments for people as to how they might come up beside us, support the show with your website.
Sure. Our website, MarquetteHoops.com, is part of the 24/7 Sports Network, and it's a subsidiary of CBS Digital Sports. So if we encourage people to DVR the show, Channel 24 on Saturday mornings, but if you have a friend that didn't DVR it or you want to tell a Marquette fan about it, we archive the shows at my website on the front page, MarquetteHoops.com.
Look at that terrific triumvirate.
Yeah, that looks like they're from NASA around that table. But we also deal with recruiting. So not only will we have the old archive shows here, but we also deal with recruits. And part of the 24/7 network, we will follow Shaka and his staff around the country, really around the world. They had Ben Gold from Australia as a recent recruit that's going to be signing an early signing period. So there's the NCAA transfer portal. There are local players that they're trying to add for the 2023 season recruiting class. So it's going to be very interesting. Just show up there. And also, if you want to come to the, we have a newsletter, a free newsletter right there. If just pop your email address in that little widget and sign up, and you will get free newsletter updates whenever there's a new recruit information, new article on our front page.
Take care, everybody. God bless, and go Marquette.